Welcome back today again for another episode. I finally got over my cold, for anybody that I guess wants to know. But yeah, today I would like to say, before we start off, I would like to say that always believe in yourself. Have a good week. Just keep it positive energy all the time. Say it again, positive energy. You know what I'm saying? Tell them rude boys to leave or something like that. We're going to keep it moving, all right? So today I'm very excited because, if y'all didn't know, I'm African American. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, I got like some people didn't, really know what I was, if I was this, I was that. I mean, obviously I'm still an African man, but obviously I'm an African that was born in America, and, last generations obviously, have come from Africans that were brought to America. So just to clear that up. But the reason I brought that up is today we will be talking about African American economics, and African economics as well. To obviously any of my brothers and sisters that come to America and contribute to the, the Black economics. That's what we'll be talking about today. So today, let me start off and say that, we have, as African Americans or Africans in America, we have $1 trillion of purchasing power, and it's forecasted to reach $1.3 trillion and by the year 2020 or 2017. So, we definitely have to take this money and use it in the right way. I'm all about Black businesses and trying to find all kind of businesses. I go to Somali stores and spend my money. I go to Ethiopian stores, spend my money. I go to African American stores, the ones that sort of kind of the ones that we have left, where I live at least. And I, spend as much money as I can. And I try to do the best I can for Black on Black economics. Obviously, as you grow, you learn how important it is rather than just looking at a name brand or shoes and, just saying like, hey, I want that because it's cool. But we have to make sure we put money back into each other's hands so we can grow and build our economics as a race. So, in America, we have 43 million African Americans, in that same being part of people of African descent. And, we have a very unique market and we have very unique behaviors in how we buy and how we spend. And obviously, if you want to know the history of that in a way too, you could just look at the history of us in this country. I will be making videos also about Black Wall Street, as well later on down the road. But, Blacks watch more television than anybody else in America, 37% more than anybody else in America, which I don't think that's such a good thing now, especially since there's not really too much good stuff on the TV anymore. But this is also an industry, and you have to look at it that way. And so 37% more than the average person or the average other races, people of African descent watch in America. Sort of startled my mind too. And we also make more shopping trips than any other ethnic group to the stores on the average, and most of it is our women and that purchase, ethnic beauty and grooming products, and they buy that 9 times more than anybody else. Sisters love doing their hair, so it is what it is. And, usually a lot of that comes down to, just like quick shopping back and forth. You forgot something, you go back, you buy it. And African Americans make an average of 156 shopping trips per year, which is very interesting to say the least. And most of those 156 shopping trips are obviously to drugstores or like corner stores, convenience stores, dollar stores. We're making dollar stores rich, but we don't own the company. We need to work on that. So the beauty supply, the beauty supplies are also popular, with the Black community. As we all know, sisters love doing their hair. They love manipulating their hair. They love coloring their hair, all kind of stuff. And health and beauty supply stores have an average of, household, penetration rate of 46% among African Americans. The average African American household spends an average of $94 a year. And that's just on beauty supplies. It's almost $100, and that's average. That's not even like the more extreme people, whereas I think majority are a lot more extreme than what, these numbers are even given. But, 71% of African Americans also own smartphones. So that's really interesting. I didn't know that as well. 74%. So that's almost like, getting close to 80% probably in the next couple of years. And yeah, they have smartphones. So African Americans, real-time television views are 45 hours per week, and that's 14 more hours than weekly than any other group of race of people in America, or ethnic group in America. And the average African Americans income has rose to $15,000 per year, which is something that I didn't know. So I'm not saying that's like the best or anything, but it's a lot better than what we were doing, especially in the 90s and earlier times than that, as you know. And African Americans are heavy users of smartphones. Obviously we are high participants in social media, which I can definitely understand that. Smartphone penetration of like 78% of social media is done on phones, on the go. And, we are, if not I think we're the second highest to use social media. Well, we're the first highest to use social media, but the second highest to use social media, on a cell phone. So, we're doing a lot of social mediaing, a lot of social media. I'm creating the word social media. Social media. African Americans also, are on cell phones twice as much as other races, which is really interesting to me. I guess it's true what they say. Black people love to gossip, Black people love to gossip. I tell you, that is something that is very much true. I contest to that. So 80% of African American women will tell their friends about a product, which is very, very interesting. Word of mouth is also something that is very, very still big in the African American community. As you know, we're very very trendy community, as well as all other communities, but African Americans especially, we just create stuff so fast and trend so fast, and just what's cool, what's not cool, and basically whatever we say is cool is what sells, and is basically what is the coolest thing basically in the country, if not the whole world. Not all the time, but majority of the times. So that's a power that we have. It's sort of gift and a curse, I guess you could say. Black women are twice as likely to spend more than 3 hours on social networking sites than any other average group. And this is in the general market that was pulled from millions of people. We are on this social networking, man. It's crazy, we're just social networking our eyes out, and 79% of African American women agree that pursuing good health is important. I agree with that. A lot of African Americans, we look at it, especially sisters, keeping yourself up, keep yourself up. That's something I think that has been passed down from Africa as well, brought over to America, is that, we have a standard and we want to keep ourselves up. Maybe sometimes we spend a little too much money on our standard, but we do like to keep ourselves up and take care of ourselves. So, contrary to a lot of people's belief. So, also, it was found that 82% of African American women believe that embracing and supporting, our race as the Black race or African race is very important to them, and the ethnics and supporting Black-owned business is very important to them. So that's something that is should be looked at by anybody that is trying to start a business. Geared towards African descent people, in America especially. So, the cultural identity and the diversity of African Americans, are more likely to, the diversity is okay, and it's not saying that African Americans don't like diversity, but a lot of African Americans would love to see and would also support more, Black-owned businesses. And usually 68% of African Americans in America would support commercials or brands if they saw African Americans. And that's probably why you see a lot of other race-owned companies, big huge companies, always going for the urban market, because they know that's sort of kind of what's going to sell, and African Americans are so influential in this country. That's probably why they market there, but only less than, I want to say, 5% of that is owned by African Americans, or someone of African descent. So we really have to work on that. We're basically consumers, big consumers, and I used to think that was a bad thing. I really did. I really did think that was a bad thing, and I still sort of think it's a bad thing in a way. But if we have the market and we have the purchasing power and the money to consume, we just need to balance that out with making more African descent businesses and making a good rapport with each other, so we can buy from each other. Our money needs to touch each other. So if I have money, I need to take my money, I need to spend it, and there has to be ways. There has to be black-owned shoe companies. There has to be black-owned markets in food markets. There has to be black-owned what else? Cell phone companies and sports apparel, companies. These are all things that have to be produced from black entrepreneurs, because our money is basically, at this point, as African descent people in America, our money is basically only touching our hands, maybe 1 to 3 times, and after that it's going to a different race in a different area. And rather than touching our money should be touching each other, I would say at least 10 to 15 times is what I would like to see. And then that's how we build our economics even better, as far as just not being a huge consumer, but also being a producer for the consumers that we have. And majority of African Americans are actually under 30 years old, so we have to touch that younger market to acquire the revenue, and to obviously keep pumping it back into the community to better our community as African people as a whole in the world. So 3%, which is 2.24 billion, 2.24 billion, of $75 billion, are black owned. So we're really giving a lot of our money away, and we just really should work on that. And like I said, I used to think us being consumers was such a bad thing, because I was like, man, all black people do is buy, but we don't produce. Like when they had Black Wall Street, or when we had our, great grandparents and granddads, when they were trying to produce all these entities and corporations, but they were held back, or a lot of them did, but like Black Wall Street and the black communities and black banks and the South that were created and were burned down and bombed and all kind of stuff. Those things sort of, I think, hindered us. So I used to think us being bigger, just being consumers was like, oh my God, we just consume. We don't produce anything anymore as black people in America. But we definitely can. So what we need to work on, the 5 industries that African descent people should dominate, based on our consumption, on how much, the kids and their kids are consuming, and young adults, and obviously, middle-aged adults. We need to have leisure, which is travel. That's a $40 billion industry that we need to control. Usually African Americans, they travel in groups. So that's a $40 billion industry that we need to control. Booking, traveling, arrangements, things of that sort. The quick service restaurants, African Americans love fast food. Unfortunately, I'm vegan. I don't eat that crap no more. I think we should all get a better diet. But for the person that wants to, jump in on this industry, making a fast food restaurant and or making a healthy restaurant that is geared towards African Americans, that would definitely help with our consuming and to fuel our economy. Our economics. And 14% of McDonald's are owned by African Americans, which make $2.4 billion. So if you are going to eat fast food and you don't, and you're a consumer and you don't, you live somewhere, maybe you can look up and see where those African American owned McDonald's are, so you can try to fuel, the economics. So also, after that, we have the technology innovation. And that's the digital. Obviously, more things are going digital than anything. It's always going to be, hardware and software, but digital as far as like apps and things like that. This is a big industry that we probably should look at the most. Well, I'd say in the top 2 to 3 because of this the future, and that's just where everything's going. So digital, technological innovations is something that we also need to look at, for the entrepreneurs or people that are trying to start businesses, black-owned businesses, for this big consuming pool, that we have. And also last is, or actually second, TV. More black networks, more black shows, more black actors. We need to support anybody that, has positive, TV series or movies or things like of that nature. Obviously, more lower budget African American movies need to be, bought at stores. There needs to be more funding, more money given to these production companies and things of that nature. And also, the last thing is personal care. Beauty obviously is a big industry that African Americans have a pretty good hold on, but a lot of the companies that are geared towards African American women, especially, and men, but African American women especially, are not owned by African Americans. At least to my knowledge, I could be wrong about that, but I don't think the huge corporations are owned by African Americans like I feel like it should be, or there's a market there that should be tapped into that we're not tapping into. So today, that was the quick video on African American economics and us being consumers, and what we should do about us being consumers, or the people that are looking to be entrepreneurs, black entrepreneurs, starting a business. Those 5 things, I would say one more time: leisure industry, fast food industry, technology industry, innovations, TV industry, and personal care. And I hope you learned a lot today. If you would like to see anything else, talk about anything else, let me know. As always, subscribe, be safe, and be good, and one love. Peace.